Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the new moon in Gemini energy update for starseeds. Yes, you are in the right place, and I'm going to be sharing with you today the I am statements that are going to support you to activate the highest potential of this new moon in Gemini energy, leading up to the full moon in Sagittarius energy and the clearing potential we have for ourselves and the collective. And today it also felt really important to share with you information that is from my very awesome book, StarPeace 101, How to Create Peace in One Generation, available worldwide on Amazon, and very soon the audio version will be too. In here, I talk about the four archetypes of building and creating the new earth paradigm, paradise, earth, star peace, whatever you want to call it yourself. And I'm going to be explaining a little bit more about the four roles and the light and the shadow of each, because as we're in Gemini energy, everything helps and everything hinders. And it's all about how you see things in terms of whether you can see a way through or an obstacle. And that's the invitation here, is there is always potential for growth, even in the most challenging situations. If you're new to me, I am RozyGlow. I'm the founder of the StarPeace movement. I'm also the founder of RozyGlow and RosannaHannes.com. And essentially, I'm here to support those of you who are ready to shift your frequency entirely on a wholly multidimensional level. So physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual, from surviving to thriving. And I'm so excited about everything that's coming up. This is the time that we were born for. So whatever challenges you've experienced to this point, give yourself permission to let them go. The chess game is over. Okay, the war in our universe is over. It's time for Star Peace. We're now playing a new game. And the game is, we're all a little puzzle piece of this huge puzzle called Paradise Earth and Star Peace in our collective universe. And we get to create a new reality for ourselves and for each other through this process. So I am a multidimensional success coach. I'm also a psychic soul coach and mentor. And what I do is I work with people to activate sacred union consciousness in themselves, also to activate that in their relationships. And for those who are here with the specific soul purpose of bringing the beings to this earth that are here to seed star peace, these are the high frequency souls that have chosen to come through. I prepare you to hold the frequency of the children that are coming through, and also to work in the quantum field to clear up the bloodline mess, okay, the karma drama bloodline less that comes from our ancestors, which we end up playing out in our own lives subconsciously until we make a different choice. And we want to free ourselves and our descendants also. So if you're loving the sound of all of this, thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the interactions. Thank you for the questions, the insights. And if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for hitting the notifications tab, the subscribes tab, and letting me know that you want to know my videos, because I'm becoming more and more present now with the fact that the cards are nearly ready, the book is ready. You know, it's time to really bring star peace into the collective consciousness of humanity, and I'm very excited about it. So let's take a little dive in. I would love to know how you have been feeling. So if you are catching me live, if you've got any questions, let me know. In the meantime, what's been coming up for you since the last full moon, which was a proper whopper of a full moon in Scorpio? I know it affected many people on a very deep level. And what I was saying about it, and this is where the appetite is so important, is the frequency color that came through is what I called uterine blue. Okay. And uterine blue really is almost like the perception filter that we inherited from our time in the womb. And this is according to our mother's perception of herself, the world around her, the people that she loves, including the biological father that made you, whether she knew him or not, the people around her. And actually, you know, how we have been imprinted from so early on in our lives to be wired to survive or thrive, to see the world as a threatening place or as a place that's full of opportunity, and where you stand on that. So let me know, for you now at this present time, do you feel that you're wired to survive or thrive? Like, just put that in the comments. And also, what did that last full moon bring up for you primarily? Because these are the deepest rooted wounds. Okay, these are the Achilles heel wounds that show up for us whenever we're about to take a leap. Okay, whenever we're about to have a quantum leap, we tend to regress before we progress. Fear will come in and try and stop us from progressing. It will give us a story, a narrative that's limiting, that scares us. And I put loads on my socials about how to deal with your own resistance recently, how to know that you're wired to survive rather than thrive, and what you can actually do about it. And I feel very strongly It's time for us to reclaim so much that we've given our power away to. I'll give you an example. This all relates to Gemini energy. Blue and pink, the traditional colours for little girls and little boys. Yes, girls play with pink things or wear pink, and boys play with blue things and wear blue. Well, how can we reclaim this slightly differently and say, well, in my world, this pink is the frequency of divine grace, which is the power of revelation. This is the pink that is like angel delight pink that tells you everything's okay, you're safe. Good can come from whatever situation you're facing. What good can come from this? The sense of being secure, safe and protected, even in uncharted territory. This is what the soft pink frequency of divine grace offers us. Equally, the blue that is what I call appetite blue, and I want you to see this. So I was so blessed. I was craving appetite, and I literally had one tiny little stone. It's here somewhere. That was so small, it was ridiculous. I was like, where's my appetite? That's all I had. So I asked my angels to provide me with some. And when I went out looking for my husband's birthday gift a couple of weeks ago, found a shop that was actually selling raw appetite. And I got 3 pieces, one for him, one for me. And we've been wearing these walkie-talkies. And literally, Ian is saying, I can't sleep with it in the bedroom. Even though appetite is supposed to be really good for helping you to sleep, it helps you to connect to your higher dimensions. He puts it on and he's buzzing. Same with me. Takes it off, then he can sleep. So we've been putting these pendants in the center of our bagua. So the center of the house where our crystal grid center bit is, we put them there to charge up at night and send the energy out. So crystals are very powerful conductors of our highest self-consciousness at this point in time. We planted all of the consciousness in the crystals way back in the day, whether it was Atlantis, whether it was Lemuria, the previous times that we activated highest consciousness civilizations, so that when humanity had reached the point of maturity, it was ready to reclaim its power again, because we've obviously gone through another huge dark age since dinosaurs, since actually it's going to be a bit sooner than that, since the cavemen and how we've grown from cavemen and women. Since that time, that was another cataclysm, another fall. And we're now coming to the point that we are ready to reclaim our power fully. But what we're having to do is to clear up the density that's still in us in fragmented ways around the patriarchal wounding that has affected our inner masculine and our inner feminine and our inner child in the kind of way that means we stop our progress rather than actually allow ourselves, when we feel fear, to see that this is a sign that we're breaking beyond what we know. Because I've said it in different ways, I'll say it now. We have been programmed to survive for a very long time, since the cavemen. This is the latest time, okay, since the cavemen, since the last ice age. And we are basically now at the point that there are enough humans on this planet that are able to reclaim power wholly and completely and not abuse it, that we're starting to remember our mastery and we're being called to it. But this is the important thing. If you argue for survival, I totally get it. Okay, we're not here to say it's wrong. We have been wired to survive for a very long time because that's what we needed. Saber-toothed tigers, lions, other tribes. We've had to literally be on the lookout for danger left, right, and center and behind us. Now, I've talked a lot about the pioneers, the pioneer energy, when the new moon in Aries was 2 new moons ago. So we had Taurus, then we had the one before that, new moon in Aries. We had the last full moon in Scorpio, the one before that in Libra. These were all tying up the masculine wounding of the patriarchy and the feminine wounding of the patriarchy. So by that, in simple terms, I mean the having to toughen up and feel no emotion in order to be able to withstand the hardship of loss, of tremendous extreme conditions, whether it's weather, whatever it was. I'm talking here about those who, it's not even metaphorically, but physically decided to go beyond what they knew and took the promise of newfound land, of opportunities in new areas, whether that's America, whether it's New Zealand, Australia, different places around the world that people ended up going when they got given the opportunity on ships to create a new reality, which often meant that they then had to encounter hardships where they went and battles where they went because they weren't welcome. Of course they weren't welcome. They didn't know that they were going to be disturbing those who already lived there, who were quite happy with their lives, thank you very much. And then there's this whole battle of power And then how do we negotiate and create win-win-win scenarios? That was the masculine side. The feminine side was how much had to be repressed in the feminine in order for us to actually be able to feel safe and secure, to be protected, to not speak up and risk being annihilated, being pushed out of the tribe. We needed each other. And every one of us here today is a direct descendant of that survival energy, of the pioneer energy, of those who are either were the ones creating conflict or the ones having to react to that conflict and defend themselves. So whether we were in the indigenous worlds or we were in the pioneering worlds of pushing boundaries, either way, we've had this experience. So I think it's very important for us to remember we're carrying these wounds. And those of us who are here in this lifetime today, this is the joy of the new moon Gemini and the next full moon coming in Sagittarius, are being given the opportunity to basically clear up that wounding of the mother and father energy, of the masculine and the feminine energy that is directly the result of the patriarchal paradigm. And it's like we get to grow our inner mum and our inner dad, our inner feminine and inner masculine, and create an inner family where finally our inner child is not characterized by their unmet needs, constantly looking out for someone to meet them, but it's like they get the best of the mother energy and the father energy and the support and safety and security to actually be able to then go about and create what they want in this world, to be prepared, trained to do the groundwork to create. So I want you to imagine this. And I'm creating this in real life on the 1st of June, this Sunday. So if you're local, if you're in the UK, you'd like to come and join me for a live in-person one-day peace retreat. I'm going to be taking people back to the foundations of their conception and actually reimagining the whole scenario so that we had the very best start in life, the best of our mother, the best of our father, the best conditions. And this is what StarSeeds are here to do. We're activating this coding in us so we can support those who are in this world to have this experience too. And to take us through this journey where imagine that you were grown in absolute love. You were expected and anticipated and prepared for. So your mum and your dad had done all the prep work to love up their shadow, to get in peak physical condition, to reduce their stress levels, to have the kind of financial support and emotional and psychological and physical support to feel really safe and secure in their intention to have children, to know how to manage stress and fear and the unknown. And basically, you got the best start in life. From before you were even conceived, you were called in, you were grown in absolute love and consciousness. Yes, things happened, but your parents, even though you weren't born yet, knew how to support you and to prepare you for the world you're going to be born into, and to give you the key information that meant you were born knowing that the state of the world isn't your fault and that you have a special part to play in the creation of a new earth paradigm and the resources and the support on all levels to make it possible. And whatever has happened in your life that maybe has limited you or thwarted you, the repair work was made available to you. Can you imagine? What would that mean for you today? How would that change your reality today? If, there was no, you never heard as a child, oh, we can't afford that. No, keep on dreaming. That's never going to happen. Work hard, otherwise you'll get nowhere in life. All the limiting beliefs that were well-intentioned, but ultimately limited us. Because we're here to lift the lid, and this is what the new moon energy is doing. It's like, what is the voice that you are going to feed? Which one? The voice that says, yes, you can, let's find our way through. Or no, you can't. You might as well give up before you even start, because this world is not going to support you in what you want. Put it in the comments. Let me know. I'd like to know what's coming up for you as I share all of this. And I will do my absolute best to respond in real time as well to comments and to anything that is actually showing up. So just bear with me. I'm just going to see if I've got commentary here before I keep going. Hello. So we've got Kate Lish and we've got the lovely Jen. Welcome, welcome, you lovely ones. So if you've got any questions, come on in and let me know. Let me carry on. So this is the energy of the divine child. We're now coming into the fact that we have cleared up the wounds of mum and dad, and now we can play on this earth plane as our divine child self, and we can actually have the experience of asking for what we want and then being supported to help make it possible. As we come into the next full moon in Gemini, what ends up happening, full moon in Sagittarius, is we go through, it's the energy of fire. So we've just had the energy of water, which was the Scorpio full moon. Prior to that, the earth energy of Taurus, right? Now we're coming into air energy of Gemini, and then fire energy of Sagittarius. What happens when you bring air and fire together? Huge, right? When you have earth and you have water, you've just got the bed, the seabed, if you like, of the ocean. So you've got the foundation, and then what's on top, the ocean of emotion. We were safe enough to go there. That's why it was a deep one for so many, right? But now we're coming into this energy again of basically wind and fire. Before that, and it's important to go back to go forward so you can understand that. Just in the new year, we had Aries, and then we had, which is fire, and then we had Libra, which was air, getting that fire going faster and faster. It's a very similar thing. This is a burning away of what no longer serves us. Okay, this is a burning away of those wounds that have been our sob story. Please forgive me for saying this, but basically we are transmuting victim consciousness inside of us, wherever it still exists, and wherever we see it in the world, in such a way that we're actually growing into the place where we don't need to hold that story anymore, where we know it's served us. So write this down. Everything helps, everything hinders. What challenges am I going through in my life? How are they helping me? And how are they hindering me? And in simple terms, they might be helping you just to stay in the narrative you're used to. And what they're hindering you from is being able to go in the direction you really want to. I had an epiphany this morning around one of the intentions I've been putting out there, and wondering why again and again I find myself saying one thing and doing another. And I had to own it's not really what I want. It's what I think I should want. What I want is for it not to be a problem, right? And it's owning that I have a direct desire that is in fact a bit of a conflict to other desires. And it's how I'm going to work with that and what's going to win. So it's the curiosity over judgment that's so important. And this is where anywhere that you hold judgment has to come up. This is what we're burning away with the full moon in Sagittarius. So I am now going to reveal to you the first I am statement that we are working with in preparation for this full moon. And you can write this down as well. Woo! I am choosing and committing to my best narrative and highest timeline. I will say that again. I am choosing and committing to my best narrative and highest timeline. Now, what does that mean? Your best narrative is the best story you can tell yourself around the current conditions, around the current limitations and challenges you're facing, that will allow you to be able to find your way through and not feel like there's an insurmountable wall you cannot get past. It's like being the water between the cracks. It's like going up to the wall and seeing that there's a hidden doorway behind it, right? That willingness to see, to perceive the opportunity in the limitation. This is key. Your highest timeline, what I'd love to know is, does that feel like a lot of pressure for you, your highest timeline? Can we reframe it? Because we go, oh, I want the top, the pinnacle experience. But what if your highest timeline is just like the most fun, most enjoyable, most streamlined, graceful and easy experience you can currently have? You know, in case you don't know, I have a very low cost membership called the StarPeace Paradise Earth Portal. And what we do is every month we come together with the full moon, and I do a live session where I take you through the seeding of the I am statements that we're talking about now, and then the clearing of resistance up that's come up for you since today, when I state in these energy updates what the new moon energy is about from the perspective of what the StarPeace Collective have been bringing in for me. They're my guides that I channel, that I wrote the book through. And then what we do is we clear up that subconscious resistance when we come together at the full moon. We go through a co-creation process, which is a guided visualization, where I take you through the clearing of that resistance and the reframing and the reverse engineering, so that actually you are reprogramming your cellular memory to be in the energy of creation and fulfillment and allowing that which you want on the highest level, rather than not allowing it and suppressing it. I actually wanted to show you the cards that came up in the yoga today, because I work with Leslie Sloan's Oracle Healing cards, and which I absolutely love. We're nearly ready with our StarPeace Oracle cards, and they'll be coming out soon as well. But the key thing for you to remember in this membership is that every month we bring out a masterclass to support the intentions of the full moon, and then we do the live as well. And at this present point in time, we've got the Father's Day coming up a bit later on in June in the UK. Now, Father's Day is a very emotional time, just like Mother's Day is. And the mother and the father wound healing is really important, because this is what allows us to then access our divine human coding, our divine child coding, rather than to keep operating from our victim consciousness and that wounded energy, which is, I can't have what I want, no one supports me, no one loves me enough, and if I try, I will fail, so I might as well not bother. Okay, this is the energy that we're clearing, because you cannot co-create a new reality from that energy. It's just going to be more of the same. And I've said a lot recently how important it is for us to recognize that if you are fighting for change in the outer world, it ain't going to happen as you desire it to, because the people that you are wanting to change can't change other people anyway. And circumstances we want to change are programmed according to the fear matrix and survival programming and the old paradigm. So they're not going to shift until we shift. And this is it. It's an inside out job, not an outside in job. So many people are exhausting themselves campaigning and trying to create change in this world without having done the inner shift, the switch from surviving to thriving. And there are many who will argue for this and say, well, someone's got to take one for the team. Someone's got to fight for it. If I don't, who will? You know, don't you? I've heard people defend others and go, well, I think they've been very brave, and I feel like, you know, they've done it, you know, they're doing the things that others won't do. I'm like, yeah, I totally hear that, and that's great. But if we have a subconscious addiction to fighting and struggle and being right and constantly judging people as right or wrong, good or bad, you're going to stay in the old paradigm, my friend. That's not going to create the quantum leap shift you want. That's why this new moon and full moon energy is so important. The air and the fire is to go through the portal of fire. It's like the birth canal of birthing our new selves, and the ring of fire. Do that. Ah! When a woman's giving birth and her perineum stretches, we do this in birth prep session. So you can feel the sting here, which is why we don't push hard. We want to give time for it to be stretched so we don't have any damage, and we build with the elasticity of the perineum. Same thing here. We want to birth ourselves into this new reality. And just take a breath, because there's a lot of information in what I just said. Just breathe in. And as you breathe out, ground it down. Okay, so there's a lot that's already been said. I want to come into the archetypes next, and then I'll share a little bit about the cards and what they actually brought up. But what I'm really saying with this is, it's not that we don't have fighting to do, or commanding change, I'd rather say, or putting pressure on the current systems to change their practices. Of course, that's there. It's just there is a choice for us to make as to whether we actually do it from a solar plexus in our wounding, or we do it from our heart and our highest self-consciousness. And this is where the appetite comes in again, because this crystal, beyond it being what I would say is uterine blue and helping us to see differently what we perceived from our unconscious and subconscious programming in a different way, this connects us to the Pleiadians and the Pleiadian constellation, star constellation. Now, the Pleiadian star family is said to be very fun, creative, full of joy, humor. And that's my invitation to you. The divine child is not a somber child. The divine child is getting on with what they desire to do, with a spring in their step and a whistle. So can you get into that zone of creation? You know, I was really excited this morning to offer my yoga, the multidimensional yoga, which is the next level membership beyond the manifesting StarPeace Paradise Earth portal. Sorry, Paradise Earth portal membership, StarPeace membership. That's level 1, 14.44 a month. Level 2, 48 a month, pounds that is, includes the StarPeace portal membership, but also 2 live multidimensional yoga classes a week. And this is to activate your light body, your earth and soul chakras, to get you into the frequency of holding higher frequency consciousness in your body and energy field, which is really important if you're an energy worker and you're not doing the physical stuff. And it's also really important if you're doing the physical stuff but not doing the energy work. This is where the two meet. And this is something else to remember about the Gemini energy. It relates to the mind. I say mind and I'm pointing to my brain. The mind is in the field. The brain connects us to the mind in the same way that our soul, if you like, is in the field, and our heart connects us to our soul consciousness, and we embody more of that frequency in our bodies, right? In our cellular memory. So the mind will always be looking for an answer. It will always be looking to seek to understand, and it will never be satisfied with not having an answer. And if you're not careful, you can find yourself endlessly looping in what I would call the astral plane, which relates to the fourth dimension, which is the realm of the mind, emotions and thought forms. And it'll keep you looping, thinking you're growing. So I see people who feel like they're on a spiritual progression pathway, but just seem to be going round and round in circles. I see them because I was that person once upon a time. And the reason, the biggest shift between that and then really progressing is whether you're willing to allow yourself to be led, to be guided, not by gurus, not by giving your power away to some external authority, but by willing to let others reveal to you with love the blind spots that are holding you back, the things you cannot see. We're moving beyond the age of external saviors. And this is what seems to be happening as well in our socials. I don't know how much you've been following this. I haven't much, but I've seen that Aubrey Marcus has had to come out recently and speak about the fact that he's married and he also has a girlfriend who's 10 years younger than his wife, apparently. So he's in the world of polyamory. I've also heard of a couple that were both ex-addicts and kind of doing their sort of social media thing together. And now one of them's gone back to whatever substance they were using, and the other one is really unhappy about it. And there's a public slagging off going on of the masculine and feminine. This is kind of like, as I said, it's the mother-father wounding playing out so that we stop expecting everyone else to be perfect. Okay. We all have our shadow. I don't want anyone to be just following me blindly in what I say. That's ridiculous. I'm here to help activate in you what is true for you, to help you to go, oh yeah, I forgot I gave my power away to that. I forgot I gave my power away to that. I'm here to act as an interface for your higher self, as are the wonderful coaches that support the work through RozyGlow. And we're here to help you connect to that so you know when you are totally tuned into it and when you're not. And this is the practice of giving people or reactivating the power within and being taught by others who are practicing this, how to use your power wisely and how not to abuse it. We teach, me and others, through leading by example in real time. Not saying do as I say, not as I do, but actually just bringing it all to light. So respect to everyone who's having online shadow stuff coming up, because it's not easy to be that raw and honest. And I want to mention Russell Brand quickly because I did talk about him last month or the month before. He is in my book as one of the people I, say, well done you for bringing your shadow to light and being a public persona, doing this in real time. Now, obviously, there's been allegations, etc., that come about through him and towards him and his behaviour. And the term "the abuse of power comes as no surprise" is one that often plays in my mind. But also, what is interesting is why people want fame in the first place and what that really is about. There's going to be a higher octave and a lower octave to that. Part of their higher octave will be their sole purpose, to be public, to be visible. The lower octave will be the unmet need to be loved, to be adored because of their own early programming. So it's all about being aware of this. Anyway, there's a really good book called Not, K-N-O-T, about the very Russell Brand from someone who had a relationship with him that I know personally, and I highly recommend you check it out. I've been listening to it, the audio version. It's on Amazon. I'll put the link in the text box below. It's Jordan Martin that has written it. I believe that's the name that's there. But just double check and check it out because it's really, really powerful. I've got Jen saying everyone is being called to own themselves and not put others on a pedestal. Absolutely. Absolutely. Whole family unit. Releasing and navigating toxic challenges in relationships internally and externally, feeling much lighter. Good. Well, this is what it's all about. So good to have you here. Wonderful. Anyone else who's joining, let me know. I'm going to go into the archetypes now. I'm channeling this. I'm excited to be here. I really am excited to be here with you because it feels very important for us to recognize our roles, and our roles change. So what I just gave you an example of with Russell Brand, and for example, the desire to be famous and what that's based on. My first sole purpose was actually to have a baby. And again, the higher and lower octave of this is that I desperately wanted to be a mum from about the age of 8. You could say that that was an unmet need of mine because my childhood was quite challenging. I wasn't physically abused, and my parents were very well-meaning and they weren't horrible people, but they weren't particularly emotionally mature themselves. And as a result, I had to deal with a lot of crap, which a lot of people have had to deal with, right? And my earliest memories are not very pleasant. But the point is this: the lower octave of me was, oh, I need to have a baby so someone can love me the way I want to be loved and I can love them and give them the kind of start in life I wish I had, right? That's the lower octave. The higher octave is the fact that I really wanted this baby. One, the soul of this baby wanted to come into me, and two, that was what triggered the next level of my soul purpose, which was the fact that I had a really challenging birth. It was a 4-day labor. My contractions were 5 minutes apart from the onset. This was because the head of the baby, my baby, hadn't engaged in the pelvis. It was not in an optimal position. I was terrified of giving birth. And I didn't really have the kind of support around me that was going to help me achieve the outcomes that I desired. This is a big part of the book as well, my friends, right? So the point of that is I learned how not to do birth. And then I spent many years supporting mothers and fathers to be and their babies to prepare optimally for the best possible experience, and then how to clear trauma after. Again, a reminder, if you want to join me on the 1st of June, this Sunday, I'm taking a whole day to slow everything right down so that we can all have the womb surround space and the reset that is required for us to actually foundationally be wired to thrive rather than survive. And you walk away with the practices that will reinforce that. I have never offered this before. Did a 2-hour workshop in Spain that went down a storm, as in people loved it. I had people coming to the dance floor later that night going, I feel amazing, thank you so much. Complete strangers, never done this before. This is one part of lots of things that I actually do. Okay, so the point of this is for you to come and experience it, especially if you're a therapist, especially if you're a way shower, if you're a mentor, if you're working in other healing modalities. You can use these practical tools for yourself, your family, your descendants, and your ancestors, and also your clients. Okay, so just bear that in mind. I'll put the details in the text box. I've got 4 spaces left, so jump in quick. And couples are very welcome, whether you've had children or not. If you work together, you get a special price for that as well, and that's linked up. You drop me a message, I will let you know what else is there as an opportunity for you, which includes the fact that you could get the whole day for free. There are special conditions that are aligned with that, and that is about you signing up to the next level of your soul mission, which is Fearless, Loved Up and Limitless, either as a one-to-one or group coaching opportunity. Let's talk about these archetypes. So very quickly, in this book, we have 4 archetypes that tell you about really the roles that are here for us to play in terms of the building of the new earth paradigm. Now, there are 4 main roles: system busters, energizers, builders, and architects of the new earth paradigm. I'm going to go into them very briefly. Remember, if you want to know more, this book is available on Amazon worldwide. You can get the you can't get the print version in Australia and New Zealand at the moment, but that will be coming out soon. You can get the Kindle version. Okay, so let's just go through them very quickly. Who are the system busters? Well, they're known as the indigos. The system busters are basically many of those who call themselves woke today, or fighting for change, the campaigners, the social activists. Okay, a lot of these are energizers and system busters. Now, the thing that you've got to be careful, and I've alluded to this before, is the shadow element is the addiction to fighting, the addiction to the drama of the fight and to keeping old narratives alive, old wounds that have never been cleared. This is how we end up with intergenerational trauma. It's how we end up with Israel-Palestine. It's how we end up with battles that seemingly have no resolution because the hatred, the pain, the them against us is passed on from one generation to the next. Now, this can relate to feminism, it can relate to race, it can relate to religion, it can relate to gender, it can relate to just about anything you want to bring in. So, system busters, your key shift in being powerful co-creators of a new earth rather than recreating the old world is to make sure that you're operating from your soul consciousness, which is in the heart, and not your wounding, which is in the solar plexus, until you've done some integration work. Now, I don't mean some, I mean all. And by that, I mean multi-dimensional. What I come across more than anything, and typically people will start working with me, either if they've had a huge epiphany shift and they've just had a big awakening, or they've been working on themselves for 15, 20 years, and they decide that actually maybe there's a glass ceiling they're ready to get past. I'm very thorough in my methodology because I see people have gone down specific routes very, very deeply for a specific amount of time, but not the stuff around it. So they've chosen what they like to work with. And it might be the physical, might be the emotional, the spiritual, the mental, and they've not branched out to balance out the other elements. They all have to be balanced. And you know whether they are or not by what works and what doesn't work in your life. Okay. So system busters, your key shift is going to come, and this is the same for the energizers, from going when you're triggered into action, that passion for change, that what do we call righteous rage, come to neutrality first before you listen to your intuition around advice as to action to take. I'm reminded of the fact that obviously we have a right to protest, etc., but there's something around the them and us thing that has to be addressed. So what are we for, not what are we against? What are we promoting, not what are we pushing against and resisting? It's really important. The language and the focus is really key. So system busters and indigos, the key is to love up your early life narrative so that you can create that neutrality and then put your soul in control to access your soul consciousness. The next level are the energizers. Now, the energizers of the new earth are basically the ones that will tell you, you've got to see this, you've got to read this book, you've got to go to this concert, you've got to go to this event, you've got to go to this workshop, you've got to do this course. It's brilliant, right? Because the energizers are the ones that basically what they focus on grows. Now, it's all of us are energizers, but some of the less enjoyable terms here, you might have heard the term sheeple, for example, or muggles is often used to sort of reinterpret what was in the Harry Potter movies. Typically speaking, the energizers are the mass populace, and what they are letting us know is where is the focus. So whether it's the mass populace of an elitist agenda, whether it's the mass populace of feminism, whether it's the mass populace of environmentalism and climate change, it's where is the main focus? What is the main conversation being had? And what is imperative is that energizers are focusing on solutions, not problems. That energizers are speaking to the what good can come of this, how can we do things differently, what can we learn from this, rather than pointing the finger, blaming, shaming, condemning. Okay, this is the key. So how do you work with this? Well, we all have an inner system buster, energizer, builder, and architect. So pay attention to you and how you're showing up, and you will have a knock-on effect in everyone around you. You create the resonance and you support entrainment to a higher level. So that's the key thing for energizers, is to make sure that the focus of their energy is on solution, not problem. This is where cancel culture comes in. You're not sort of refusing to give someone airtime in the sense that you don't like what they're saying, so you're muzzling them. You're just shifting your focus away from what is an old narrative into what can be created from it. And at the moment, the way the mainstream media, for example, works is it literally will tell us what it's told to tell us. So there's going to come a point, for example, where media, and it is happening now, in that there is a shift in censorship, and we'll start to get more of the different narratives all showing up in the same place so that we can then decide what we want to energize. That's going to be really important. Okay. Third bit is the builders. Now, I also call the energizers the nourishers of the new earth paradigm. The builders are the nurturers of the new earth paradigm. So the builders are the therapists, healers, coaches, mentors, teachers, those doctors, those who are nurses, midwives, those who are seeking to support the healing of the existing trauma in the collective, to clear the way, to clear the plate, as it were, and then decide what we're going to put on it afterwards, right? So this bit is really key for you to understand, because if you are someone who is helping to clear up the trauma in the collective through your work, remember how important it is for you to be doing the very work that you're doing for others. I was given very clear instructions, for example, that on the 1st of June, I am going to be working very much with the energies myself. It's not just going to be taking other people through them. So I've got a support team to support me so that I can work deeply with the energy. And I've already started to prepare for this. So the builders just have to be very aware that often what we do is we hyper focus on, working, doing our work because we love it, and we then have a shit personal life, or we don't have enough money, or we don't have enough time for ourselves to self-care, to self-nurture. This has to stop, okay? For us to really fulfill our soul mission, we are being called to actually have a balanced life. So it's not all play, sorry, all work and no play. It's work, rest and play. Yesterday, I stayed in bed till 2 o'clock with my beloved. There was a bit of me feeling guilty about it. It's bank holiday Monday. It's sunny. I should be out. No, I needed rest. So I took it, right? So this is what I mean is that's the shadow of the builder energy. Is your life in balance? Have you given to yourself what you give to others? Or does your sense of self-worth and purpose come just from giving? You've got to learn to receive to give. Finally, the architects are the oracles of the new earth paradigm. And I'd love to know, as you're hearing all of this, which of these you identify with most now and which ones you feel you've been in the past. If you want a more deep sort of explanation, it's all in the book. And remember, my course, Fearless, Loved Up and Limitless, is all about activating your multidimensional consciousness and landing where you are currently meant to be in terms of your soul purpose iteration. So the last one, which is where I am now, and it's what StarPeace is about, is being an architect, a visionary of the new earth. Now, architects are creatives who can be in the entertainment industry, can be creating through spoken word, through written word, through movies, through TV series, through songs, whether that's composing music or words or both. And we're creating new narratives in the collective. Now, the thing with the architects is architects are incredibly sensitive. It's very easy to come out of balance. Often there can be some mental health issues as well to be aware of. I mean, that goes across the board because we're sensitive as starseeds. So I just think it's very, very important to remember that the important thing as an architect is that you do not force yourself to watch and participate in things that are just too painful for you. You're here to hold the vision of the new earth. And this can be as applicable to builders and energizers and even system busters. But the point is, if you've got a stomach for something, okay. If you don't force yourself. It's someone else's role to do it. Okay. So I will talk more about this. I'm going to make different videos about each one. So I'm going to encourage you to come and join me on TikTok, RozyGlow, on Instagram, RozyGlow and StarPeace 101. And make sure that you have also joined me on YouTube if possible. Okay, so let's now just bring this to a close, because the key, I'm just going to do this really quickly to let you know what has come up, but the key to us now preparing for what we're calling in is to take the next action. So if you can join me on the 1st of June, make sure you do. Okay, I don't do the same thing again and again and again. These are one-off wonders. They're always different. Okay, so I would highly recommend you do. Put in the comments sacred reset, and I can send you the information and we can have a chat about it. And do it sooner rather than later, because there's some prep work to do for Sunday. Okay. The second thing is, if you know that you would like to participate in a deep, deep dive and to rewire your motherboard circuitry from surviving to thriving on all levels, then please put desire just put desire in the comments and I'll send you a link to desire mapping call so we can look at where you are and whether you're really a fit for fearless or something else that we actually offer. And if you'd love to participate, but these things just seem out of your range right now, remember the StarPeace Paradise Earth Portal and the Multidimensional Yoga membership. These are really accessible points. And of course, you may well want to start by reading the book first, but why not do both at the same time? Now, here we go. This was the reading that came through today, and I feel it's really important. So I'm just going to share it with you. This is the energy of Gemini. Own your anger, own your suppressed rage, suppressed anger, and bring it up and out so that we can stop it running our lives. That's with the world and also with yourself and your family stuff. The block to this is to do with the thirst for knowledge, which is always going to keep you looping because the soul consciousness knows. It doesn't seek to understand, it just knows. It knows when something is in resonance and when it isn't. And constantly trying to understand why everything is as it is will keep you trapped in the mind and the emotions and also the astral plane. And you can't really come into the intergalactic universal consciousness of StarPeace if you're stuck in the astral plane. The here and now, and this is where the multidimensional yoga and the offerings I'm sharing with you now relate to, is owning your desires fully, getting clear on what they are, and actually being able to tell yourself the truth around what you really want rather than what you think you should want, the difference between true desire and duty desire. And this is all leading to the loving up and the healing of the patriarchal wounding, the patriarchal paradigm of suppressed pain and emotion because it wasn't safe to feel at the time. It is now. We've actually got all the tools we need to therapize the world today and to prevent trauma being created in the future. That's the three-pronged formula for peace. We're all going through a shift in our narrative around toxicity, toxic thoughts, habits, behaviors, and how we reframe our relationship to those things that we want to let go of so they don't have the power over us that they have. Okay. And this is leading to us having a truly healthy, I mean, look at that man drowning in his own tears versus this man who's tamed the beast. He's on his golden path. He's got his map. He's got his medicine bag. He's got his hat on. He's got his little bird of peace on his side as well. And the fairies are guiding the way. This is our inner masculine that we want to grow into. Okay, the resolved masculine. He'd be, perfect dad material. Okay, so let me give you those other I am statements that we're going to be working with. And I would love to know how this has all landed with you all. So we just said that the first one is I am choosing and committing to my best narrative and highest timeline. This is what I'm going to be anchoring with you when we actually have our full moon session, which I'll tell you in a minute when it's going to be. And as of today, the latest masterclass, the Healing the Father Wound, is available. I believe the Healing the Mother Wound is still up. So if you haven't done that yet, we leave the last 3 masterclasses up for you and then they come down. Okay, so just bear that in mind. The second I am statement is I am always aligned with the divine. I am always aligned with the divine. You can also say I am divine timing, which for me is hilarious because if you know me, I tend to operate in a different time zone to most others. And here is a shift in the second one. I am aligned with the divine all of the time. Yeah, I'm aligned with the divine all of the time. Or you could say I'm always aligned with the divine. They both work. The whole point of this is a playful mindset that shifts. So what if this is the best thing that it could happen to me? And this is to deal with any challenge you're facing. Okay. So we're working with earliest life memories. And this is really important because if you just allow yourself to remember whatever earliest life memory comes to mind now as I say this, it's going to give you a sense of what perception filter you're operating with in this world, what you are actually seeing, and why you're seeing the world the way you are, because it's relating to a memory that will be pre-age 7, which means it's been wired in a different way to things that happen after. So let me know how this has all landed. But in today's day and age, we're here to practice neutrality over judgment. We're also here to own our desires wholly and completely, and at the same time to let go of attachment to outcome and to surrender outcomes to the win-win-win and everything in the highest good of all. Just to remind you, we have a very low cost membership where you can join me live once a month with the full moon energy and have a masterclass and other freebie gifts that we give you as well as part of our community. 2, you can join the yoga, the multidimensional yoga, which you get a free class if you do join the StarPeace portal membership, so you can try it out. But you know, for those of you who know physical is an element that you're missing, why not start there, because you get everything else. You can join me for the 1st of June. Highly recommend you do if you can. I'll put the link to the Sacred Reset Day in the text box. And of course, if you're interested in Fearless, Loved Up and Limitless, we are starting the next round. I think it's the 25th of June. And this is epic. We purposely run small groups, so we're talking maximum 8, but more likely 6. You are so well taken care of. You have the opportunity for me to be your one-to-one coach for the one-to-one sessions, but the whole course is going to be led by the wonderful Kate, who is phenomenal. She edited this whole StarPeace book. She lives and breathes the Fearless program in a way that is just exemplary. And I just can't say enough about how powerful this program is if you haven't already participated. And I expect you've done a lot of things before you come to do this, and they've all prepared you for it. So if you want to know more, put desire in the comments and I'll send you a link to a call. And remember, if you want more on the Sacred Reset, just put sacred and I'll put the link in for the Sacred Reset for you specifically. I'll send it individually. For now, I'd love to know how this has all landed with you. And if you have got any questions, please do let me know. And what I will do is I will then respond to them. Oh, we've had a long session, haven't we, today? I will respond to them and make other videos, but you can check everything else out. Let me know how this has landed. And if you want to join me for the full moon event, let's just have a look quickly at where it is. Oh dear, it's going to want me to log in. Let's not do that again. I will look on my phone. So our next full moon event is... Bear with me. New moon now. So full moon is going to be, I think it's the 11th that we've said that we're running it. No. It's on the 9th, Monday, the 9th of June. So if you would like to participate in that, that will be Monday, the 9th of June at 7:30 p.m. BST. So that's when the next live is going to be. For now, I send you so much love and looking forward to hearing how this all lands. And I'm off to see the dentist. So ta-ra for now. Lots of love. Thank you for sharing with everyone you love. And thank you for commenting and for doing all the stuff we've talked about already. Ta-ra for now.